Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for episode 3 of Susan's Journey. And if you haven't seen episode 1 or episode 2, I highly recommend that you go and take in those short videos so that as we are at this leg of the game, that everything makes sense. But I'm so delighted to be able to introduce you all to my dear friend, Susan Swanson. And we've been talking about breaking down not only her cancer journey, but her journey with nutrigenomics. And my name is Angie Huntley, and I represent LifeVantage, which is a biotech company that has pioneered and specializes in a breakthrough science called nutrigenomics. It's utilizing nutritional formulations and components to influence your genes. And we really target the genes that you have that are lazy and dormant. We all have those lazy genes. And nutrition empowers them to perform at maximum capacity. And they are able to just significantly increase your heal and repair mechanisms. That's a really high level for some of the intricacies of why we choose this in our life and why Susan has chosen this in her life. And our last episode left us off in January of 2025 when Susan had, well, why don't you just refresh us with Susan
Okay.
with,
All
and
right.
I want to say too that Susan is a very seasoned registered dietitian, and she loves science. She works in the healthcare field. She works in medical systems, and that's really what drew her to nutrigenomics. And so being in the medical field and being in the inside track of so many aspects, medicine, and health, and having this diagnosis and this journey and several of them in the past, and then also dipping into nutrigenomics. She has such an incredible perspective as well as just being such a dear and beautiful human.
Oh,
Now, with that said, Susan, tell us about January.
oh my goodness. After that introduction, I don't know. Well, thank you for having me. And those that are watching, I'm really happy that you've been able to join us and get a little bit about my journey. As we said at the end of the last episode, in January of 2025, it was actually January 7th. I had my annual PET scan because I have such a significant history with cancer. I get a PET scan every year to make sure nothing is growing in my body. And for the past 7 years, 8 years, everything has been clear. Everything's been clean. Nothing has showed up. And then this year, unfortunately, the PET scan lit up on my pancreas. And so that is very indicative of pancreatic cancer. So then all the testing began. First, it was the blood work to check the marker. Then it was actually a physical biopsy of the tumor itself. Then it was meeting with the surgeon. And I'm blessed to say, even though, of course, nobody wants to hear that diagnosis, I was blessed in the fact that it was in the tail end of the pancreas. The pancreas attaches to the stomach, and then it's a little bit like a teardrop. And so my tumor was at the end of the teardrop of the pancreas. So that was a blessing in and of itself because if it's closer to the stomach, it's easier for that cancer to move around and to expand and to grow and to metastasize. So it ended up being a stage 2 pancreatic cancer. And I met with the surgeon, and he felt very confident that he could perform surgery. So that probably took a month. And that was a pretty stressful month. But then I was able to schedule that surgery with the doctor. He performed it. It went incredibly well. I didn't realize how painful and uncomfortable abdominal surgery was, but they completely got the tumor. But because of the fact that it was pancreatic cancer, and mine was actually a squamous cell pancreatic cancer, which is very aggressive and rapidly growing, the recommendation was 6 months of chemotherapy. So
Yes.
that's so
So
in
when
the
I was just going to ask, so when you went into the surgery, were you still utilizing nutrigenomics?
oh my goodness, I would never know. I actually, at the diagnosis, I actually spoke with Angie and just got her feedback and her ideas about what was happening with me. And she said a lot of people even double up on the products, certain products, to even boost your system even more and to make your system even stronger. So I doubled up on the NRF1, the NRF2, and the collagen, all of which I really think prepared my body for the hardship of chemo, which I was gonna face. Of course, I had the option of not going the route of chemo, but for me, because I had two originating cancers, the breast cancer and the melanoma, and both of them came back and metastasized. I didn't want to take a chance with this one, and I wanted to be able to, even though the chemotherapy is hard on your body, I wanted to make sure we could get and crunch every one of those pancreatic cancer cells if in fact they were floating around my body. But as far as the nutrigenomics, I doubled up because I knew that my body was already stronger going in, especially going into the surgery. But I wanted every opportunity to be as strong as I could be going into chemo. And it was 6 months of chemo. And I
Wow.
actually just had my last dose last week. So,
Okay.
yay. Yay. So
That's
I'm
wonderful.
very, very happy about that. And I have my PET scan on tomorrow. Well, actually, my PET scan is tomorrow. But I'm very optimistic because my labs are really good and my markers are really good. And there's no indication that there's any return of cancerous activity, which is a real blessing.
Yeah.
So I did decide to go ahead and go forward with 6 months of chemotherapy. Now, this is not my first time with chemotherapy. So it was not something that I was looking forward to. No one would look forward to
No,
chemotherapy.
no, no.
But the last time I went and I had it, I lost all my hair. I lost my eyebrows. I lost my eyelashes. My fingernails just, I don't know how to say it other than what happened. They just kind of disintegrated and they wouldn't grow and they were very painful. And my toenails, that's something I won't publicly speak of. But they were
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
not nice. They weren't happy.
Oh,
And
yeah. I don't think a lot
so
of people know realize that. I think because
yeah.
usually we see, clothed people and we see the hair, and we can
Hmm.
recognize when someone's going through chemo. But, I don't think a lot of people who haven't been through it realize the other things.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the fingernails were, and they were painful, and my toenails were pain. And then I got neuropathy in my feet and up my legs, and so that was a challenge all to
mm-hmm.
face, especially going into a second 6 month period of chemotherapy. You wonder what is going to happen this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my doctor, she tried to prepare me. She said, "You got to be ready for all of this." And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm much stronger this time, and my body is much stronger this time than it was the
Yeah.
last time going in.
Yeah.
And I was really confident. And look at all this hair.
Right. Right. You look fabulous. I
Look at
mean,
all this
you look
hair.
fabulous.
I mean, I have great hair. My fingernails are great. My toenails are fine. I actually have eyelashes, which is a miracle. They grow very
Mhm.
slow, but at least they're there. And I think my energy level and my ability to tolerate the chemo overall was much improved. My only real my only real side effect was fatigue, and
Yeah.
that was pretty debilitating, but
Yeah.
it's something you work through. And
Right.
once I started the exercise, like I mentioned in the last session that we had,
Yeah. Yeah.
the, the exercise really helped. And chemotherapy, people don't realize as well that, your muscles take a big hit, not just your hair and your
Right.
fingernails, your muscles take a big hit and atrophy during
Mm.
chemotherapy. So there's a lot of things that go on with chemo that a lot of people don't realize. Because, like you said, the only external manifestation people really see is the hair loss.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there's a lot else that goes on. And even though I'm finished, I'm still doubled up on the
Yeah.
product.
I, you know, I highly recommend it. There's even, and I don't know if I told you this when we talked before, and I'll preface this by saying I'm not an oncologist, I'm not an MD, I'm not a PhD. I was not giving medical advice to Susan. We were just discussing
No. Mhm.
the information that I've gathered over the last decade with experiences with my clients and my colleagues through their nutrigenomic usage, my intense studying. I am an intense studier, so I have that going for me. And well, one, I can tell you that there are, this is prominent, we're global. So nutrigenomics is in about 24 countries, and other countries are a lot more open in their medical systems to natural modalities, and especially Eastern. And there are physicians in Thailand who treat cancer patients and they megadose. So they will say, take 6 NRF2. Like, I mean, they just throw NRF2 at it and have really great success. And so I always have that in the back of my mind. It's an investment, obviously, but it's everybody's choice, like to know, like, what do I want to do? And there's a really neat symposium that the formulator of NRF2 did on, and you probably watched it. I probably sent it to you, but
I'm sure.
yeah, Dr. Joe
I'm sure.
McCord, who is just world renowned. He's won incredible rewards for this process and what he discovered. And right up there with like the largest inventors, Alexander Graham Bell and Orville Wright and all the big ones. And he had done studies on the power of activation with chemo and without. And it's profound, both and what it does to protect your healthy cells and allow chemotherapy to address the cancer cells. And I think that's a lot of people's hesitancy when going into chemo is I don't want to kill all my cells and just hope that more cancer
Right.
cells die than my cells. And activation has such a perfected or a protective mechanism. And we tend to see differences. We tend to see people not lose their hair. And what I'm curious about with what you said, I have questions because I love hearing your story. I always hear a little bit of a different dimension. Um, so in your last bout with chemo, before you had started nutrigenomics, um, you had pain as your nails were disintegrating.
Mhm.
No pain. Do you not like,
No
so your
pain.
nails are still there, but no pain?
No pain.
Because
I'm
that,
pain free. I had
oh,
no
see,
pain whatsoever.
that's
None.
oh my
It's
gosh.
it's huge.
It's huge
Huge.
because I would rather lose my nails than be in pain.
Yeah, it
And
was it was very uncomfortable, very
oh,
painful.
wow. I
And
am over the moon about that for you.
yeah, me
Because,
too.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, to be honest with everyone, I went through this process as beautifully as anyone could, I think.
Wow.
And it all has to do with my preparation and what I've done to the nutrigenomics, because there's no other explanation.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
now everybody has their true north and things that they just will not let go. This is just one thing that is
Yeah.
never going away.
Yeah. Me too. I've seen too
It's
much.
just a part of my process,
Yeah.
the part of what I do every day. And once you make it, I mean, I know firsthand how effective the product is
Yeah.
because I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
I had a friend that started on the NRF1 and the NRF2, and he was not really that interested. He just was, oh, well. And
Hmm.
then after a couple of weeks, he says, oh, I don't feel anything. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I told him, I said, it's not immediate. It's not
Right.
something that you're going to wake up tomorrow and say, whoa, I feel great.
Right. Right.
But then after a few months, then he finally said to me, he said, you know what? I really think this stuff is working for me. I feel different. And that's the only thing that I've done differently. And now he's sold. He will
Yeah.
not, he said he will not go back
Yeah. No.
because no.
once you experience that aliveness, and I have a lot of clients who don't know how to describe it, but they'll say, I just feel more alive. And for some they
Hmm.
do. For some it looks like I didn't lose my hair in chemo, and for some it looks like I don't have migraines anymore. And for some it's like I just feel so alive. And I heard that, in your first two episodes we talked about how it had only been nutrigenomics was pretty new to you
It
before
was.
January. You started the end of the year
Hmm.
in 2024. And those were the kind of comments I was getting from you.
Hmm.
You woke up with energy. You wanted to exercise. You were
Hmm.
feeling so alive, where before you weren't feeling as much as you were living. And I think that's just a beautiful advantage and tool to have in your tool belt. And who wouldn't want that?
Oh,
You
who
know?
wouldn't?
No,
Who wouldn't?
want it.
Because I went from truly feeling like it just so sluggish
Yeah.
all the time to waking up and saying, "Oh, it's morning, let's go." A
Yeah.
complete turnaround. And the
Yeah.
other thing was my quality of sleep. The
Yeah.
quality of sleep just was amazing.
Wow.
I and
Yeah.
it's still to this day amazing.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
um,
and
it's
sleep is so important.
it's just wonderful. And I've
Yeah.
made it through, and I've been blessed to have Angie by my side as
I'm
my
blessed to be
friend,
by your side.
as my friend, and as my mentor. She's absolutely brilliant. When I try to tell people about the product, I say, you know what? Why don't we have a call with Angie? Because I'm not ready. I'm not at that
Oh,
level, but I
it's
feel I'm very blessed to have her in my life.
I'm blessed to have you, and it's just been incredible. I mean, you're just a gift to my life in every way, but getting to see you hold to this and fight for yourself and your health, and it's the biggest joy because sometimes, you put the tool in front of someone, and a lot of people don't want the tool. And so when you
Mhm.
see someone who needs it and who takes it and just gets the most out of it, that's why I do what I do. It's why you do what you do. Um,
Mhm.
I I know a few times during this 6 months you've texted me and said, clear scans, clear scans. Was that a PET scan?
PET scans.
So you've been
Yep.
having periodic PET scans.
I've been having periodic PET scans throughout the entire process of the chemo because they want to make sure, that nothing's coming back and that the treatment is being effective. And it
Yeah,
has been 100% clear. My cancer markers, that's an indication of whether there's activity from the pancreatic cancer. Your blood
yeah,
work can tell.
yeah,
And mine has all stayed below any kind of at risk level.
yeah.
So it's been amazing. That's why I'm very optimistic about tomorrow.
Oh, I am
Very, very
too.
optimistic.
You'll keep me posted, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I
No,
want to I
I'm
want
gonna
an update.
no, I'm gonna tear the last page out of the book and not let you read it.
Thank you. Thank you. I love to, and I think you know this too because I'm sure I would have told you this as well. But um, you know, all disease and aging are rooted in the things that activators like regulate and take away, which is awesome. We balance those things. And so our very first activator, NRF2, which is one of the things you're doubling up on, we have 31 organizations, now 32 around the country and world. Actually, they're not all American, but most of them American. Major organizations and universities that have chosen to study our protandem NRF2's effects on certain disease processes. And there's hundreds of diagnoses out there. So there literally can't be a peer-reviewed study for our product in every single rare genetic disorder and disease. But there is a peer-reviewed study on the longest living survivor of stage 4 pancreatic cancer, because normally that diagnosis is a pretty
Mhm.
dire one.
Correct.
And so I just felt it gives me confidence to know, like, wow, I felt like you were armed well. Like we even
Mhm.
have
Oh, I
that.
absolutely. I had that
Yeah.
as my armor going in,
Yeah.
and I felt really blessed about it.
Yeah.
I felt stronger, and I felt more prepared, and I felt it was God's grace that had guided me to where
Yeah.
I needed to be. And
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely. Without that, I don't think I would have been as, I've been a fighter my whole life and I've fought through cancers before, but having this product on board and being activated as was before the entire thing started, that was a blessing. And I know it was all because of God's direction and grace.
Yeah. I love that. There have been times where I've talked with people and they love it. They love the idea of the science, but they said, I'm just going to trust God. I'm going to not do this for now. I've been praying for a miracle, and so I'm expecting God to heal me, and I was praying for that for my son. And then through really wild turn of events, it was introduced to me and I got my son back. And you were praying, and it was a very wild,
Mhm.
like it literally is God's grace that
Oh,
how
well,
we
absolutely.
should meet, the person that we were connected through. You don't even know that
Mhm.
person very well. It just all these dots had to connect, and you can realize, wow, don't be that story, that they tell about the person in the flood and the waters are raising and three different boats come and everybody says, "No, God's going to save me." And it's like God sent
Mhm.
you the boat. And it's
Right.
like,
No,
this
and
is the
that's true.
boat. Yeah.
Even though right, God's answer isn't always what we expect, and
No.
sometimes it's the unexpected
Oh, it's
that
usually not.
yeah. He doesn't follow
Yes.
our script.
No. Much more creative than us, you
Yes, he
know,
is.
beyond our wildest imagination. So we should be
Right.
ready for something that we aren't expecting, not for it to be packaged in our own ideas. And so
Correct.
I commend you for your openness. Like truly, I just respect you at such a deep level for not just your knowledge and your appreciation of science and your dedication for what you do and your beautiful heart, but you were open to look at something different and really willing to prioritize your own healing journey to say, I don't want to go without this. And that's
Mhm.
really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you. I
welcome.
feel that the whole process been, it's been a blessing overall. If I had to go through it, I wouldn't have gone through it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
blessed.
yes. Is there anything else you think we need to know, or do you think we covered it?
I think we've covered everything. And if we come up with something down the path, we can always do another.
We can. We can do an episode 4.
We can do an
So,
episode 4 to tell everybody how great I'm doing in 6 months.
right,
So
we'll do an update. That's what we'll
that
do. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure that you feel as blessed and enriched as I do just with every connection with Susan. And if you have any questions about nutrigenomics, feel free to reach out to Susan or myself or whoever shared this video with you.